Hello world and welcome to Freezing Moment, a brand new talk show that will be airing out from Oulu, Finland in this enormous crisis that the world is facing at the moment. And our attempt is to send everybody some light, some hope that the situation, even though how difficult it is that we are facing at the moment, there is always hope. As long as we keep on acting, as long as we keep on fighting, and as long as we keep on uniting our powers. Today, the aim of the talk show is to bring you people from different parts of the world who have something special that they've done in their lives. They all share one thing in common, and that thing is a special mindset and a special attitude, what we in Finland call Sisu. Sisu is more than guts, it's more than resilience. It's this extraordinary determination that takes you beyond the obstacles that life is challenging you with. And today, in our first episode ever of Freezing Moment, I am actually tackling one of my own personal freezing moments because a couple of hours ago I was still supposed to be behind the cameras as the stage manager, but then due to some unexpected turns and twists, I am sitting here as your host today and I am literally facing a freezing moment. But I'm here to tell you that no matter what life gives you, what kind of unexpected turns you will end up in, just like bravely keep on going, keep on pushing forward, and that's the best thing you can do. So today, we would like to invite here to studio our first ever speaker, and our guest, he is a Finnish professional ice hockey player from Oulun Kärpät, our Finnish league team, which is currently actually frozen completely due to coronavirus. So there are no games ongoing at the moment. As a hockey player, this person has seen it all. He has world championship medals, he has Olympic medals, he's won several times Finnish national championship. He's played in NHL, KHL, you name it, he's been there. We have the great honor to welcome Lasse Kukkonen, a true living legend, to come and join us at the studio. Welcome, Lasse.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
We won't shake hands today, but we'll do this airwaves,
Yeah.
so to say. So as a professional hockey player, I'm sure you've been in many freezing moments in your life and in your career. Can you think of some, like, especially tough situations from your career when you were playing in some difficult situation? Is there some particular case?
Well, I think there's a lot of those cases that you feel like you're really down, you don't have any chances. A couple of years back, we were playing in Kuopio, and I think we were losing like 5-0 after two periods, and there was only like 20 minutes left to do something, and it's kind of the moment that you realize that you can't do it by yourself, but you can't do it together. But of course, it takes everybody to do it, and I think that's the best thing. Best thing about hockey is that, or sports, is that you can do big things. You can jump on a big opponents together. And I'm not only talking about the team or the players. It's the fans. It's everybody around the team. All the trainers, coaches, doctors, everybody. Once you start pulling together, you can do amazing things. Things that nobody outside of that team thinks it's possible.
That's a great story, especially for this time and era that we're all facing a crisis at the moment. And this is what you said about like coming together, how everybody, the entire team, and it's not just the players who are out there in the front, but it's like everybody has a significant job to turn the freezing moment into something else. So I'm kind of like curious to see how you kind of like in those situations that you have like 20 seconds and it's kind of like impossible to even like beat the opponent. Everybody's kind of like saying that why don't you just like quit? There's no way for you to kind of make it. So what is the trick that you play in your mind? How do you kind of like turn the situation into totally opposite?
We talk about inside of the team. We talk about a lot of that things that happened are in the past. We can't do anything about those. Those things are Those things are like they are. But things that we can control, how we react and what we go and do next. And that's the thing, I think, that's the learning point. You know, like we can't put the virus back, you know, but we can start fighting against it. We can do something now and tomorrow. And I think that we can try to make the teammate next to me look better. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for the guy next to me. And once everybody starts thinking like that, somebody's going to help me when I help somebody else. And then we're going to be something different. We're going to be something bigger.
That's a great way of how to look at things. How we view things is that we're sort of like at the hinge point of the humankind at the moment. There are two roads for us to choose from. The other one is the road that is controlled by fear and all the negativity and all this kind of like despair. If we choose that road, it's kind of like there isn't really sign of hope in that direction. But the other road that, and it brings me back to what you just said, is the road of like hope and the road of repair. You said that we cannot do really a lot about the things that have happened in the past. And that's also the same for us as a humankind, that there are mistakes that we've made. There are like environmental crises that we have caused. But instead of sort of like dwelling on the past, we can now start to act. We can do things differently. And as you said, to kind of like combine everybody together, so to get the community spirit up and running. This is probably something that has been throughout your career, that you have been in different types of teams. You've played in like NHL, KHL, Finnish League, and all sorts of different teams. So can you kind of like think of one great thing that is common with the greatest of the teams?
I think the common thing is that it doesn't matter, like you said, it doesn't matter if you're in Finland or Sweden or Russia or USA. It's that those teams, they really want to help each other. They really care about each other, and they don't do things for themselves. They don't look something. They look what they can give to other players, to the other people around them. And suddenly, like I said, once you start giving, you suddenly start getting things back, and everybody looks good, and everybody feels good. Everybody feels safe because they know that if something goes wrong, you're not alone. There's people around you who are going to help you to get up again, who's going to support you and lead the way. So I think that's the common thing, is that there are people who are ready to sacrifice themselves for the common good.
And this is a great way to look at the world at the moment, that instead of thinking that we are in different teams, the entire world is at the same team. We're working towards the same goal. And we feel that this kind of challenge can actually like unite us as nations. We are all kind of like part of the same game, tackling the same sort of like enemy that has entered our space. So when we unite our forces, great things can happen, and we can sort of like help each other out.
Yeah, I think that great things will happen, and I think this is the good point and good time for everybody to understand that, you know, we all can have inside a hockey team, we all have a little bit different opinions about little things, but we understand that, you know, that's okay. That's how the human nature is. But at the same time, we have a same goal, and we will work together, and we will make a difference. And I think that's like you said. Now there's no nations. We are fighting against this together, and we're gonna survive together. We're gonna make the difference, and we're gonna come out as better people and better chances for everybody.
That's great. I feel emotional already once you said it. And it's exactly like you said, that this is the time now to see that finally do the things that we haven't had time to do before, like in work life or family life or anything. We always have these good like intentions. We know that we would need to be more environmental friendly, have more time for family, you know, do all of these things that are important. But something always happens in life, something unexpected. There's a meeting you need to attend to, or there's some sort of like other kind of burning question at work, which isn't really that burning. So this is maybe like the point that we're now finally like getting a moment, a pause, that we can re-evaluate our values, our strategies, and also what we consider important in life. So what would be your message of hope for the people who are now kind of like maybe fearful about the future, maybe getting a little despair, and how is the world going to, and especially the young followers that you have, because you're an idol to many. So what would you say to the young idols of yours when they are thinking that the world is too dark or the future is too scary to do things? So what would you say to those people?
Well, I would say that if you look in the past, there's been a different kind of crisis with humans throughout the time, and always what happens after that people come together, and people come out stronger, and they go on, they survive, they find the ways together, and they are happier after that because, like you said, they have more time to maybe look after the people they love, look after the people they're living close by, and suddenly it goes around the world, and then good things will happen after that, and like I said, we always find a way, and we will find a way again.
So kind of like keep on playing, on playing, don't quit. So it's
Yeah, like you said, keep on going, keep on playing, because that's how we do it, and that's how we want to do it, and do it together. A lot of times you think you're in a situation alone, and you kind of start looking only like what's gonna happen to me, and there's a lot of people in the same situation now. So reach out, talk to the people, ask if somebody needs help, because I think if you ask somebody, hey, I can help you, he will ask back, yeah, you can do this, I can help you, and that suddenly you feel good about yourself, and the people you ask, they feel good about themselves, and you get out of the fear.
That's like great. It's sort of like igniting the fire one spark at a time.
Yeah.
So you need like different sparks come together, and then we can sort of like defrost ourselves from the freezing moment where we're at.
Exactly. That's why we go to sauna after that we go in a frozen lake.
Yes, great. So do you, Lasse, by the way, do you have any fears? Do you have any fears that have been controlling you, or have you just always tackled with the great spirit, whatever life is giving you?
Of course, I do have fears. There's been moments that I feel a lot of fear, and if I look back, like a big kind of freezing moment was 2009 when KHL team Yaroslav was in a plane crash, and there was a lot of my friends on a plane, and even before that I was afraid of flying, and of course that even made that fear bigger. But then I kind of tackled that. I try to learn about it, listen to people who know more about it, because I don't know how those planes stay in the air, or what happens in a plane. So I talk to the people, I find out more information, and that helped me at the time to get over my fear, and to be able to do my job.
It's a great point what you made, that ask those who know more, ask those who kind of like see better, for instance, into the future. Or maybe sometimes we should also take a look back of those previous situations, people who have also fight different types of battles, so we can kind of like look back and see how they did it. We don't have to overcome everything on our own, but we can sort of like get help from either people from the backpack, or then from the future, who kind of like already know where the world is headed to. So Lasse, you have children. So what kind of message would you like to have for your children, that they would know when they think about the future at the moment? Like, is there something special you would want your children to know and deeply hold in their hearts?
I think the message I'm trying to give them and tell them is that dream a lot. Go after your dreams, whatever it is, if it's art or music or sports or anything. Like, dream big, go after your dreams, work hard, and anything is possible. Like we know, if we look past, there's things that human has achieved that nobody think could be possible. So I think that's just dream big, work hard for your dreams, and of course look after each other. Like be kind to your friends and sisters, and of course mom and dad.
That's great. So, when you were growing up, did you have big dreams? Did you already know back when you were like young child that you want to be a professional hockey player? Or how did that happen?
Yeah, I had when I was, I would say, first couple grades in school, I had a dream that I want to play ice hockey as a professional. And at that time, it wasn't that common. For example, in Finland, you couldn't do it. So I had a dream that I want to play hockey. That's all I want to do. And I remember I told my teacher that, and she said that, oh, yeah, go after your dreams. You know, you never know what's going to happen. And of course, I'm lucky enough that actually happened. But you know, like you never know. So, but if you don't dream anything, then it's not going to happen.
And that's like also in addition to dreaming, I bet you've done a lot of work as well. So
yeah.
Dreaming is probably not enough.
Dreaming is the first step.
Yeah.
But then you can turn it into a goal by working hard.
And then you just keep on working hard, and those doors will be open. Was it difficult to become a professional player? I mean, what does it need to become a professional player?
Of course, there's a lot of bumps in the road on the way. There's a lot of things that happen that you can't control. There's injuries. There's you know, maybe some teams don't like you, or something else happens. There's better players who maybe at that time they take your spot and something like that. But at the same, I feel like I have been lucky. Like I've been just able to do my job, my dream for now over 30 years. If I count it when I was 5. So I think, of course, it takes a lot of work. It takes commitment. It takes passion and patience. But at the same time I feel like I haven't worked a day.
Oh, that's great. So it's basically passion and courage and the community around you who are supporting you and this unity. Yeah. So thank you, Lasse. What an honor to have you here as our guest.
Pleasure to be here.
We'll now continue with our guests. We're going to have also another professional athlete, and this time we're going to have holding on because we're taking her in through remote session because of this coronavirus. There are certain travel bans at the moment ongoing. So I'm going to introduce while we wait for her to appear, and there she is. So next guest is Sini Py. She has incredible story to tell. Sini is the true embodiment of Finnish Sisu, the spirit that keeps you going no matter how hard things get. Sini is an Olympic, been in the Olympics. She's won all kinds of great awards. And when I tell you this, that she was paralyzed or severe injury when you were 17 years old in a car crash. And can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell me a little bit about like what happened when you were 17 years old?
Well, it was actually exactly 10 years ago. We were driving from my grandma's funeral to my home. Me and my parents, we were in a bad car accident. And in that accident, the safety belt actually cut my spinal cord and also my spine and damage. And they took me to the hospital and fixed me up. But right from the start, it was clear that I would not walk again. So I've been moving with the wheel.
Okay. So we had a little bit of a technical delays due to the fact that the entire world is now using video conference tools, which is bringing people close and together. Amazing innovation. It's been now used, especially in Finland, when the school children, they don't have school, but they are going to school virtually. Businesses, organizations, they are using all the meetings through video conference tools. So due to that fact, we get Sini back. Great to have you here. We were just hearing the heartfelt story of we got the kind of like culmination part and almost tears rolling down to my cheek, and then the connection completely froze. But that must have been sort of like how the experience was for you. Basically, the life as you knew before, that was completely frozen at that moment. Everything you had was on a hold. So if you think back at that particular moment, what made you kind of like bounce back and show the world that this is not the end? This is not the end for you. So I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I'd say that's exactly how it felt like. All of a sudden, I went from a 17-year-old athlete, I was cross-country skiing back then, to somebody who couldn't even get up on a bed or couldn't eat by themselves, couldn't turn by themselves. I spent 1.5 months in a hospital without going outside or sitting or anything like that. I went 3 weeks without eating. It was definitely weird, but all the time, because I had seen Paralympic athletes before, and I had seen people with disabilities before, I just felt like, well, if somebody else can do it, why couldn't I? I was only 17 years old. I felt like it was too soon for me to give up on my life, because I felt like I can still do a lot of things. I can still go back to school, and I felt like sports probably will be a possibility for me. So once I got past the pain and past kind of the biggest trauma, I felt like it's time to go on and not dwell on it, because it was my whole family that was in that car crash. And of course, I had to worry about them as well. And I worried a lot about my friends, because it was a big thing for them as well. So I just couldn't only think about myself. I had to think about everybody around me. And I feel like that also helped me get through it, because I wanted to help everybody else feeling sorry for me and show that it's not so bad. I can do it, and I feel like we really did it together.
What a great example you are. Such a great and moving story. So it must have been a little bit difficult, or at least I'm imagining that it could have been difficult to start asking for help, because at least here in Finland, we tend to be very individuals who can take care of things without ever having to bother someone to come and help us. So do you think, how was that situation when you actually had to ask for help and you had to kind of like rely on other people?
It was really difficult at first, especially when you went from somebody who's super independent and strong and athletic and doing well at school to somebody who needs help at everything. And I feel like it was a growing moment for me, that I wouldn't have to think about bothering other people by asking help, but actually thinking that they probably want to do that because they care about me, and or it's their job. And that's what I try to do in my life also, that if I see somebody needing help, for example, in now this situation in my building, there's a lot of elderly people living here. So we try to help as much as we can. We go buy them milk, and just to keep them safe, because we are young people. Me and my boyfriend, he's working from home, so we can do what we want in this moment. And I feel like that's also like my way of giving back to those people that helped me when I was in the dump.
This is the great mindset of like giving back or paying it forward. I would say that sometimes we think that someone has given me something, that I need to return the favor to that exactly person. But imagine what we can actually accomplish when everybody is just kind of like paying the help forward to someone who is in need of that help, instead of just like kind of like between the two persons exchanging the favors, but instead kind of like paying it forward to someone who is in the need of your help at the moment. So that's a great way of looking at things and how you're helping out people. So Sini, I'd like to talk a little bit about, you turned really your life in a miraculous way upside down, and you've been able to compete at the Olympics. I mean, that's the great everybody's goal, I would say, that you said that you did a lot of sports as you were young women, and then all of a sudden that dream was sort of like taken away from you. But then there's this new opportunity. So can you tell me a little about what happens at the Paralympics? What kind of a world is that?
Well, the Paralympics, I've only been to Winter Paralympics, which is a little smaller than Summer Paralympics, but it's still a great experience. There's a lot of people from all around the world. We come to the same village. There's people that have very different disabilities. There are people that don't have limbs or that have spinal cord injuries. We have visually impaired people, and then we just all do our best. It's the showcase of what people can do. And I feel like in the Paralympics, people are kind of out of it.
Yes, the connection was down a bit, but I'm guessing that you were saying that people are really like close as a community because you share a similar type of experience, freezing moments in your life. And it's sort of like everybody really has that attitude of Sisu, the attitude of pushing forward when the going gets tough. And I bet that the whole community who are in the Paralympics, they are sort of so full of hope because you've had to overcome difficult times. So you're kind of like looking into the future with great hope, and it's kind of like that it's not the end. So that's like an attitude that we're like really rooting for. And I heard that you have been awarded with a very special award at the Paralympic, an award that is given to only one woman and one man within that entire Olympic sports players and skiers and everything. So can you tell me about the award? What was that?
Yes, I was awarded the One Hyundai Achievement Award in 2018 Pyeongchang Paralympics. And that was definitely a surprise for me. I remember in Sochi Paralympics, I saw the people in the closing ceremony receiving that. I thought that would be so cool. That's just a goal of mine almost. Of course, a Paralympic medal is a goal, but that's also something that would be amazing. And yeah, the award is given to an athlete that best broadcasts the values of the Paralympics. And yeah, it was a great honor to receive that.
So you basically are the embodiment of the values of Paralympics and being ever so positive and always looking optimistically into the future. I think you are incredible role model to so many people, and the world should hear your story, should hear all the battles that you've battled, what you have learned throughout the battles, and you can be sort of like a torch of hope to many who are struggling with freezing moments in their lives. And you are showing how you can actually like turn it upside down and make it the best sort of like experience that you can have. At least enjoy it the best that you can. So what a great role model. So Sini, are you afraid of anything? It seems that you've tackled the almost impossible, and you've done so many great things. So are you afraid of anything?
Well, of course, being so close to kind of losing everything and definitely changed the way I see fear. I used to be really afraid of not succeeding or not making the best of my life and that kind of things. But I think now I'm mostly afraid of people around me. I, of course, care deeply about people, and at times like these where loved ones are at risk, I feel like more than anything, I want to be in contact with them and just to see that everybody is okay. Even though you can't be physically there, you can always call and you can always text and see how people are doing, because I feel like in times like this, like our president said, it doesn't have to be physical contact, but it can be mental contact. And I think just call people you care about, because you might never know what happens.
So Sini, such a great example of the community spirit, of paying it forward, of never giving up, always having hope, always pushing forward, no matter how difficult situations you end up in life. That's a true role model. I wish that my daughter, who is 13-year-old, would look up to you and see what you are doing and kind of like adopt the way and the attitude that you have. So, and also Lasse, the same thing to you as well, my son, who is 9 years old. And both of you, for my daughter and my son, such a great role model. So we're super happy to have you here on board. And just wait for a moment. We will invite another person to join the show. This time also a wonderful example and the embodiment of Finnish Sisu and the never giving up attitude. We have another hockey player who is going to join us. And this hockey player didn't let the minor bump in the road get in his way when he was diagnosed with cancer. And the cancer, because of the cancer, he had eventually his entire leg needed to be amputated. And so playing hockey without one leg, that might be a little bit of a difficult challenge. But our next guest, Jussi Lotvonen, has not let that get down, and he is going to come and talk about also the... Come on, Jussi. We're happy to have you join the show. So Jussi, I just briefly mentioned your story, but let's kind of like look back. What happened to you? You were a hockey player, and then I mentioned that you were diagnosed with cancer. But
yes, I was a retired hockey player. I never was like Lasse, but I was 25 years old, and I had a problem with my heel, and they found a cancer there, and that's why they amputate my leg below the knee. Yeah.
You, as a 25-year-old young guy, were diagnosed with cancer. Can you think back of that particular moment in time in your life? What were you feeling at that moment?
No, of course, the first thing was that I just want to live. I had then 7 months old boy and family, and I didn't care what kind of life or how it would be continue. I didn't want to die. That was the first and only thing for that particular moment. Yeah.
How did you cope with the situation? You said that you didn't want to die, but like, what kept you pushing forward?
There was 3 days, 3 very long days when they examined me. That is it only the cancer only in my heel or is it in my whole body? And when they told me that it's only in my heel, I knew that I will survive, and that's it. I didn't really think that thing at all after that, because my life would continue, and that's it.
How did you tackle the 3 days that you were not sure what the future would bring to you? Do you remember, was it a time of restless time, or can you think of that particular moment, that particular big turmoil in your life?
I think it's pretty much the same when you are in a big game in hockey or in sports. You have to push your the stress and everything behind you, and you just have to wait what the future comes, and that's it.
This is interesting because I bet a lot of people in the world are tackling the same fear at the moment. That how do we pause play on our fears? Can you elaborate that a little bit? Like, how do the professional players, how do you get those negative feelings that you kind of like press pause and say that we don't want you here?
For me, it's like a mantra. I think the same things. I live in the moment. Pretty much never. I don't think what the future comes, because I don't have the power or I can't change it. So I live in the moment, and that's it.
And you have the power to influence the moment that you have at hand. So you kind of do, make the most out of the moment that you have.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that's a great lesson for everybody who's now maybe overrun with fear and the anxiety. But if you think more of that, you said that you knew that you are going to live not once they discovered that it was only in your leg or your ankle. But how did you then how long time did it take for them to having to amputate your entire leg?
It was 2 days before Christmas, and I told the doctors that I want to spend the Christmas at home, and after the Christmas they amputate my leg. Yeah.
So you just were like that, and then they just amputated your leg. Was it an easy decision?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because it was the only decision, and what can you do?
Exactly. So that kind of gave you life in a sense.
Yeah.
So I read about you. You said that this experience has actually been one of the best experiences of your life. Can you tell the other people who are watching this and maybe thinking that how can it be someone's best experience having to get rid of your leg and everything?
I was 25 years old, and for that time, I think most of the 25 years think about money and how other people think about you. And when you are without no leg and in a wheelchair, you never want to think about what other people think about you, because everybody is staring at you. And after that, I made a decision that I'm gonna live my life for me, for myself and my family, and I'm gonna be happy. And that was the first thing. And after that, pretty much all the not so important things, like is there a sunny day or rainy day or something else, it doesn't bother you at all, because every moment I think that I will make the best of it for this day, and I make the decision that I want to be happy, and that's it. That's the first thing.
That's a great first step. I mean, if everybody would just remember that first step, I'm sure we would have lots of smiles on people's faces. And what strikes me the most is that when you got here, you're just full of smiley faces, and the fact that you not have your leg there, so you still are such an embodiment of happiness and radiate this kind of sunshine spirit. So do you have a secret?
No, I think life is a gift for all of us, and we have to enjoy every day, because we don't know if it's the last day or do you have many days for your life. So I want to be happy in my normal life. I don't need any super cool things or fancy holidays. I enjoy my normal days. I enjoy my morning with family. I enjoy evening with family and my trainings and my work, everything. I want to join everything in my life, and that's the first thing. Of course, everybody has ups and downs, and everybody has sad days and sad moments. But when you wanna think that you have more the happy days and happy moments, you really have those moments more, and that's it.
It's basically what you are looking for, that's what you'll find. So you kind of if you're looking for the happy moments, you discover them as well. So easy secret also. Matter of perspective. So you were an athlete before, and you are still an athlete. So would you like to tell more about how your story evolved afterwards?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was a hockey player like Lasse. We played the same team, and Lasse, we know the story, and he's a great athlete for all of us. But I discovered that I'm not gonna be a hockey player, and then I was about 20 years old then, and that's why when I started working a lot, and when I had my leg amputated, I started thinking that could I be a para-athlete, and I played para-hockey about 5-6 years. And at that time, I discovered that I'm not enjoying the hockey as much as I could enjoy sports. And then I discovered triathlon, para-triathlon, and it's about 8 years ago I started the para-triathlon, and I've been circling the world 6 years in World Cup in triathlon. Yeah.
So in World Cup, and you're ranking pretty high there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty hard when your sports is in summer sports and we are in Finland, but you just have to go with it and train indoors and travel a lot. But yeah, it's a great sport. Yeah.
So wow, so you combine like swimming and running and biking and everything.
Swim, bike, run. Yeah.
So nothing is holding you back. Do you have any fears? It seems that you just like conquer everything with your positivity and just like living in the moment. And
of course, everybody has fears, but I think the biggest fears for me is concerning my family. I think the biggest thing would be if something happened to my family. I'm not concerned about me. I think I will survive, but of course, the family is the first thing. And it's the most important thing in my life. Yeah.
So how do you see this crisis that the world is at the moment? Do you see that there's some hope or something with your positivity? I'm sure that you're able to look something bright also in this crisis. So I'd be curious to hear about that.
Yeah, of course, it's a big crisis. And like I said, I'm not concerned by myself, but I'm concerned the whole global thing about the people who are suffering the most, the poorest people, and of course the third world and everything. But I think if we all stay positive and if we all honor everyone else, it's a big thing, and that can help us all. I think that for my perspective or my goal, my thinking is that everybody is at the same level. There's no better people. Everybody is the same, and you have to honor and help everybody. And if we all think that way, I think we can live much faster for this crisis and help each other. Yeah.
So Jussi, you are not only an athlete, but you're also an entrepreneur in this rather difficult time. So how, as an entrepreneur, this crisis that we've hit, how has it affected you and your business?
Of course, a lot. I counted last night that almost 60% our sales is gone down. And again, I'm not concerned by myself or my company, but I'm concerned about our employees. We have about 30 employees, and there's many of them have children and homes, loans, and it's a hard thing for them. And I really am concerned about them, how they will survive for this.
And how to find the solutions, how we can together help each others out. And what is the business of yours? What do you do?
I have two businesses. The other one is a triathlon coaching company, and the other one is like a gym. We have a normal gym, and then we have 15 massage and 4 physios and 5 personal trainers. So pretty normal big gym.
But it's like gathering people together under one roof. Yeah. So it must be a terrible setback to your business. And
yeah, of course.
Yeah. But there's always like if we are not supposed to dwell on the past and think that this is the end, but there will always emerge some new ways of solving the problem. And we hope that it will be this community spirit that people are sort of like paying back to those people who are in need of at this difficult moment.
Yeah, we already see that, and I really hope that it will continue, not only for this week or next week. This will continue the whole crisis. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jussi, Sini, and Lasse, such a great pleasure to have you all here. I couldn't think of any better set or combination of people who I would invite for the very first Freezing Moment talk show, because you kind of like helped us put things into right perspective. Help us to see that no matter how difficult situations we will end up in, there is always hope. There's always hope when we just refuse to let fear take over and sort of like get us into the negativity. When we just keep on acting, keep on finding together the solutions that can help us. So I'm sure there are viewers there who look up to you. You're great, great role models to a lot of people. So if you could say 3 key components that you would want everybody to remember, so we can have a little tour. I'll ask everybody, what are the 3 things that you would tell everybody to remember from now on? And maybe I'll start with Lasse, since you've been there sitting the longest time.
I think the first one is that, help each other. We are in this together and we will get out of this together. And I think that's the main thing. I think that will solve this. Like Jussi said, that we already seen that people are coming together, and hopefully it lasts longer than this and next week. I hope this actually changes the way we think, and I think that's the key. That help each other, take care of each other, and we're gonna be stronger after this.
Thank you. Well, how about you, Sini?
Well, I would say in this moment, keep an open mind. Understand that the world is probably going to change at this moment, and that is inevitable. But it's easier to accept that and to see that how can I adjust to this new world? How can I help others? How to make sure that still have an income that are there to use, and people look out and people that might need help and help them, because we need each other in this crisis. Even though we might be locked down in quarantine, you can still call people and you can still order food or buy gift cards to companies and just keep the economy going and keep the emotional contact going.
Thank you, Sini. Great advice. How about you, Jussi?
Yes, I agree, Sini and Lasse's what they told. But for me, I think the first thing is to honor everybody. For this crisis, we have to honor. It doesn't matter what do you think about this crisis or how do you cope with it. You still have to honor everybody here. The other thing is you have to be positive. And the last thing, of course, you have to try to have fun, try to smile and enjoy life.
Great advice. And I think this the perfect example of that. When this shocking event happens to our lives, it's not the end, even though it is a different world afterwards. It marks a different type of world, but you all can show that it's not the end. It's kind of like a different way, different approach to life. Maybe we are more united. Maybe we are more like found the core values that make us happy and allow us to live in the presence and allow us to be joyful and allow us to meet other people and be close to other people, help out, reach out. I mean, all those core values, maybe this is the new era of us being united, regardless of where we come from, what's our intake on life. So we want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for coming to the very first edition of Freezing Moment. And we did have some freezing moments also regarding the technologies and also for me having to jump in as a host. But we are super happy that you came here, and we have something, a little gift for each and every one of you. And this gift is something that can remind you that keep on rolling, keep on moving, keep on going. So we have a special... I'm going to give this later to all of you and keep the safe distance due to the virus. But these are like special boards made here in Finland, made here in Oulu. They're special raw edits, so there's only like the truest of Finnish nature. And this is like a symbol for you to remember that no matter how tough the things get, we can always go back to the basics, and we can always be the purest versions of ourselves and keep on rolling, keep on going. So each and every one of you will have this. Sini, you'll be given also one. I heard from your brother that you are using skateboard in the summertime to roll yourself around. So that's really admirable and great. So it was our pleasure to have you here, and I'd like that we would all just like blow kisses up into the air, and that's what we say, that give a kiss, fear goodbye. So we can just like, say that fear, go away. We are going to tackle this together. We are in this together, and we're not going to let fear take over, but we're going to be united, and we're going to fight this battle together. So we'll just like end with us blowing kisses, everybody, and you also in the audience, just like blow your kisses into the air. And thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you.